We are adjourned, and now we'll gavel in the regular meeting. Good evening, everyone. The time is 7:10 p.m. It is Tuesday, May the 6th. I'm going to call this regularly scheduled City Council meeting to order. Would all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The City Secretary, please call the roll.
Mitchell.
Here.
Kaiser.
Here.
Rizzo.
Present.
Zuniga.
Present.
Harris.
Here.
McKinney.
Here.
Tobias.
Present.
All right, all members are present. We have a quorum. Next up, approval of the minutes.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion, please, to approve the minutes for the meeting on April the 15th, special and the regular minutes.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Tobias, seconded by Councilmember Harris that we approve the minutes. Is there discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, motion carries 7-0. Next up is citizen comments. At this time, we ask anyone in the audience who wishes to come forward and speak on any item to please do so. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes and that you direct those comments to the mayor and council. We also ask that you fill out a citizen comments form and submit that to either myself or the city secretary. I have 2 folks who have registered to speak. First up is Don Conley.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Is it on?
There we go.
I was like, I don't see it green. My name is Don Conley. I am the Programs and Entertainment Coordinator of Kyle Leary Senior Zone. We would like to formally invite you to our first annual Senior Expo at Gemstone Palace tomorrow, Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have over 47 vendors, 5 different restaurants. It'll be a lot of fun and resources to connect the community to things that will have quality of life, veteran resources, and needs for the seniors. So please join us and the rest of the community. We hope to make this an annual thing so that everybody's engaged with the community and know how to live their best life in Kyle, Buda, and San Marcos. The other thing I'd like to invite everybody here is on May 10th during Market Day. Kyle Leary Senior Zone is hosting their annual Mother's Day breakfast in silent auction. It will be a taco sale this time. We're switching it up from pancakes. So you can grab your $6 combo with tacos from Rudy's Barbecue, muffin, fruit, and choice of drinks. And then we have over 100 baskets for our silent auction. It's one of our biggest fundraisers. And again, just a great way to bring people to the market day. Lastly, I was so excited yesterday to watch that Adele Hurst's name went above the ballroom door. So I want to personally, again, thank you guys for working on that and to bring that history of a woman who really was here to make sure that seniors have a place to find family, socialization, and resources for the community. So thank you and have a great day.
All right, thank you, Don. Next up is Tracy Shield.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, I come to you tonight in support of item number 29, the emergency preparedness or emergency management preparedness of the fair. Anyway, I have volunteered to work the Kyle PD table for a couple of years now and have been very honored to see so many people, so many of our community members attend this fair. It is very important. It not just helps our citizens prepare for, the big things like possible, terrorism or cyber attacks, but it also helps prepare us for those things that Mother Nature likes to throw at us. We need rain, but we don't need a deluge to flood us. We were in a tornado watch today. And then, of course, we had snowpocalypse. And, our residents needed water. But there's also personal emergencies, a fire. And just real quick, congratulations once again, Chief Taylor. A fire in a home is an emergency to a resident, but that can also spread to other residents. Fire took out half a block here on Center Street just a couple of years ago. And then, of course, this building wouldn't be here if it weren't for a fire that took out another just historic, important building that was already here. There's also, medical emergencies. So emergencies come in all forms and fashions. And so it is very important that our residents and our community is actually prepared for anything. So I am asking for your support for this item and hopefully see you guys there. All right, because there's a lot of cool vendors, even the helicopters. Matter of fact, I met one of the pilots there a couple of years ago who actually had the same last surname as me. I have never met another person with my last name outside of my family. And he actually tore off his patch and gave it to me. So I thought that was really cool. But anyway, so I hope to see you guys there, but really, please approve tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's all the forms that have been submitted to me. Jennifer, do you have any submitted to you? Any more additional forms? You have one? All right, thank you.
Don't you wish? Hi, my name is Yvonne Flores-Kale. I'm here. I originally just wanted to talk about people watching your meetings and being aware of what's going on. Just because there aren't people in the audience, I just wanted you guys to kind of understand that we're going to do a watch party. So from now on, any member of Kyle that would like to come and watch these meetings, maybe have some popcorn, get together, and discuss what's going on. That's going to be happening every Tuesday. So they can just go ahead and contact me at YvonneFloresKale77@gmail.com. The next thing I wanted to talk about was what just took place. And this is going to be kind of off the cuff. I was unaware that you guys were going to be doing voting on a raise for the city manager, mostly because it wasn't clearly stated in the agenda. I'm assuming it's letter L of executive session, which is to discuss personnel issues, including deliberating the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, or discipline of public officers or employees, including but not limited to the city manager. My suggestion would have been to add a little bit more clarity to this. The agenda should have clarified and specifically stated something along the topics of the city manager's salary increase, and it didn't. And so I would like to have seen a discussion regarding why you each felt that after 2 years, the city manager was entitled to a 15% raise overall. So as we know, last year he got a 10% raise, 10.5%. This year is 4.5%. And so that's a really big raise to give somebody where I don't know if I've seen a significant outsource of connection to the residents, which I think should be the number one priority of any city manager. So maybe you guys can reevaluate that the next time you guys give them a raise. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close citizen comments. Citizen comments is now closed. Next up is agenda order. Does anybody have any items they wish to move around? We do have one, which is I have one to request, which is agenda item 29 regarding to the emergency management preparedness fair. Since Mr. Jones is here to speak, I thought it'd be good to have that be brought up towards the front. Does anybody have any objections to that or have any other items they wish to move around? Yep, I agree with that. All right, so we're going to do 7 first, if there are no objections. Is there any other items? What's that? Okay, all right. We're going to move on to agenda item number 7, a proclamation recognizing Fire Chief Kyle Taylor for earning Chief of the Year and biggest entourage. Councilmember McKinney.
Yeah, I'm going to expect you guys here for every meeting from here on out. I attended the groundbreaking ribbon cutting or coupling ceremony, whatever you guys call it, for our newest fire station. And it was kind of leaked a little early. Thank you, Joe Smith. That our chief was named Chief of the Year. And I was like, man, we gotta honor that. We gotta recognize that. I will say that as I've gotten more and more involved in our community, it really never ceases to amaze me how many incredible people that we have that work here, that serve here, and whether it's volunteer. I mean, we're truly blessed with the people that we have in our community that all work together. I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. So, that being said, whereas the Texas Fire Chiefs Association annually recognizes a fire chief who exemplifies leadership, innovation, and dedication to the fire service as voted on by their peers, and whereas Chief Kyle Taylor has dedicated more than 2 decades to the fire service, and whereas since his appointment as Fire Chief of Hays County Emergency Service District number 5 in August 2013, he has been responsible for the strategic leadership and operations of the department, which serves 76 square miles in eastern Hays County, to include the city of Kyle. And whereas Chief Taylor began as a volunteer firefighter with Red Oak Fire Rescue in Ellis County, later being promoted to the rank of captain, and later served as a battalion chief for Hays County ESD number 6 in Dripping Springs prior to leading Kyle Fire. And whereas Chief Taylor is a graduate of the National Fire Academy Executive Fire Officer Program and holds a Master of Public Administration with an emphasis in emergency management from Sam Houston State University and a Bachelor of Business Administration from the University of North Texas. And whereas the Fire Chief of the Year Award is a testament to Chief Taylor's commitment to excellence in fire service and public safety, now therefore in recognition of the important work of, it's a whole mouthful here, the Hays County Emergency Service District number 5, I, Mark McKinney, Council District 5, and the entire Kyle City Council do hereby honor Chief Kyle Taylor and recognize his commitment to leadership, innovation, and dedication to the fire service and the contributions he's made to the Kyle community. Signed and entered this 6th day of May, 2025.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. Come on, Chief, what you got for us? Does anybody have anything they want to say to Chief now that he's here to receive our praise? Councilmember Rizzo.
Yeah, well deserved, well earned. Great job, Chief. Thank you for all you do for our community, for Hays County, for the city of Kyle. It's refreshing to have someone here that cares about the community. Anytime we have something going on here, whether it's a fire or some kind of emergency, you're always a phone call away. You're wanting to work with the city is very important, and I really appreciate that. This past year, when we had the fires here just a few months ago, I had residents that were worried about their homes and they weren't getting information. You picking up the phone and allowing me to comfort them meant volumes. They're really, really worried, and to be able to do that is great. But that just shows that even while you're battling a fire, you can respond to a text. You're willing to want to communicate with other electeds, and also wanting to give that communication out. And I was real careful. I made sure I didn't get more than I needed to. But I just want to say thank you for all you do, and for the people under you. I mean, it goes back to leadership, right? And the culture you've created there is pretty amazing. So thank you.
Anyone else? Councilmember Tobias.
Chief, thank you so much for your service, sir, and congratulations. I know that this award means a lot to you and your family, but most important to your department. Serving the community that you have for so many years, shows dedication and leadership. And I just want to say thank you very much for all your hard work and congratulations to you and your fire department. Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, thank you. I'm honored to be up here, but really it's a group effort. All these guys back here make us what we are. They make us the department that's able to serve the citizens here in Kyle and the surrounding areas. I couldn't do it without Judge Smith back here and then the ESD board. They stand behind me every step of the way, and the crazy ideas I come up with, like opening Station 3 in a house. So yeah, I've had a lot of help along the way, and I'm honored to be presented with this today. And I also want to thank my wife. She's been behind me for a lot of years. You see the hair color that wasn't here. My hair wasn't this color when I got here.
Nice.
But yeah, thank you again.
Yeah. Any additional comments? Chief, I'll just say, I guess I've known you now for about 10 years or so, and it's been an honor just to get to sort of watch you go from the one with the hair to the one with the different colored hair.
Yes.
Every one of those grays are earned on the backs of you caring about this community.
That's
so
right.
it's 100%. Everybody knows it. We're super proud to have you.
Thank you. And that's it. It's all about the people,
Yeah.
whether it's the citizens or the firefighters, making sure that everyone has what they need and they're taken care of.
Well, I when I talk to my kids about role models, I talk to them about you.
Thank you.
So, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So, thank you for everything you do. I hope to see you here for a lot longer. I'll
Yes,
feel
sir.
safe as long
Yes,
as you're
sir.
here. All right, I think we'd like to do a photograph.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get your compadres to come up here. We'll take a
Come on, guys.
photo. You got your trophy? You gotta squeeze in. Have like a little mini ladder.
Yeah, 2 rows maybe. 2 rows. 2 rows. 2 rows. There we go. They did it so great. Okay.
Ashley, hold on. Ashley, hold on.
Make sure everybody's eyes are open.
Jeez.
Perfect. Shooting in to get in the picture? Yes. Well, now they're going to be mad at me.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief Jana, nice work, man.
All right, so I'm gonna try to take a few of these out of order. We'll do the rest of the proclamations, then we'll do the preparedness, and then we'll come back to the staff items and then council items.
Okay.
Sound good? All right, so next up, we're going to go to agenda item number 5, a proclamation recognizing May 2025 as Mental Health Month. Councilmember Heiser.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Tonight, I am proud to recognize May as Mental Health Awareness Month here in the city of Kyle. This is a time to bring to light an issue that affects all of us, whether directly or through someone we care about. Like so many, I've had my own journey with mental health, chock full of ups and downs. You know, some days you feel like you're on top of things, and other days it's more like you're dragging yourself through quicksand. The truth is, most of us push through because we think we have to, because we don't want to be seen as struggling. But let me be clear, reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you care enough about yourself and those who depend on you. Our city is committed to fostering a culture where mental wellness is supported, where people feel safe asking for help, and where stigma has no place. Whether it's through our schools, our partnerships, or our daily interactions, we all can play a role in making our community stronger, one open conversation at a time. In the last year alone, our city has implemented vital programs and personnel to help those who are struggling with mental health, a partnership with Hayes CISD and Hill Country MHDD to bring outpatient substance abuse care to kids in our community, and 2 mental health professionals to our expanding mental health division at the Kyle Police Department. So, as we proclaim this month in honor of mental health awareness, I encourage everyone to check in on your neighbors, your loved ones, and yes, yourself, because you matter, your story matters, and your healing is worth prioritizing. And with that, I would like to call up our great public servants who work every day to offer crisis intervention and provide supportive guidance to the people of Kyle, Christine Dalton and Genesis Villagomez.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and members of our community. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Kyle Police Department's Mental Health Division during this important proclamation. Mental Health Awareness Month serves as a reminder that mental health is just as vital as physical health, and it affects individuals across all walks of life. Here in the city of Kyle, we've taken meaningful steps towards addressing these challenges through the implementation of our co-response model.
This model pairs trained mental health officers with licensed mental health professionals to respond together to calls involving mental health crises. It allows us to provide not just safety, but understanding, connection, and immediate access to care. It's a proactive, compassionate approach, one that helps de-escalate situations, reduce unnecessary arrests, hospitalizations, and connect individuals to the resources that they need. We are proud of the progress we've made, and we know that this is just the beginning. Mental wellness is a community effort, and we're committed to being a trusted part of that solution. Thank you for supporting Mental Health Awareness Month and recognizing the importance of this work in the city of Kyle.
Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate you being here. Can we get a picture with the 2 of them and the officers here?
Yeah,
can we
don't
do
see
that,
why not. You want to go
please?
up to the front?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, yep. Let's do 2 rows. Ladies, yeah. Ladies, step forward. Yep. There we go. Veronica, can you come over to this side, please?
All right. Anything to add? All right, we're going to move on to agenda item number 6, a proclamation recognizing Police Week. Councilman Rizzo.
Cool. All right, thank y'all. Look, honestly, last night I was thinking about this really hard because I prepared something, and no matter what I rewrote it or how I rewrote it, it just didn't come out right. It felt too synchronized, too scripted, right? So I started thinking about not just National Police Week as a nation. I started thinking about our police department here, the KPD, and how fortunate we are as a city to have the brave men and women who put on the uniform every day here in Kyle to serve. And I started thinking about them personally because I've gotten the opportunity to know a lot of the officers personally. And one of the things I've noticed is their professionalism, but not only that, their caringness. They're actually human beings. They care about the people they serve. They care about this community. And that's wonderful to get to see, not only while they're wearing the uniform, but even when they're not wearing the uniform, to see them interacting and being a part of this community is really amazing. They actually care about Kyle. They love the city that they serve. It goes back to recruitment. And recruitment is something that I think our police department takes really dear. And they don't look to just fill a spot. They look to fill it with the right person, the right officer, someone who actually has the mindset of serving a community. That commitment is really important from day one, and that goes back to leadership. Chief Barnett and Assistant Chief Hernandez do a great job of putting in a culture here in Kyle, one of service and one of compassion as well. We have officers that do their job daily. And, when you go to work every day, sometimes it can be a grind. Our officers always enjoy. They always got a smile. To see them participating in the community is amazing. To see them at field day, to see them with the cops and coffee, cops and pops. I mean, getting into the community is really important. That's where we get our buy-in. That's where we're lucky as a community to have such a great police department and the men and women who enjoy serving this community. And I just want to talk about those people. It's not always about the uniform. It's the people in the uniform. And we've got great officers at the Kyle Police Department. And I want to put an emphasis, not just on National Police Week, but on the police department here in Kyle. KPD is a great police department, and the men and women that serve in it are amazing. And we're lucky to have y'all as a city. With that, I'd love to read this proclamation. City of Kyle Proclamation. Dedicated officers of the Kyle Police Department, along with law enforcement professionals across the nation, give selflessly of their time and energy to ensure the safety and security of our communities, facing daily challenges and potential dangers as they serve the public. And these brave men and women embody integrity, dedication, and deep commitment to justice as they protect the innocent and uphold the law, and provide support to individuals and families during times of crisis and uncertainty. And National Police Week provides an important opportunity to acknowledge the immeasurable contributions of our local law enforcement officers, to express our heartfelt appreciation for their sacrifices, to honor the dedication they bring to the service. And it is essential that we continue to stand behind our law enforcement officers by providing them with the necessary resources, training, and policies that enable them to carry out their duties with fairness, respect, and compassion, ensuring they are empowered to serve effectively. And we recognize the profound impact that the officers of the Kyle Police Department, along with their colleagues across the nation, have on our community, helping to maintain a sense of security and peace, and offering support to families, businesses, and individuals each day. Now, therefore, in recognition of the bravery, service, and sacrifice of all law enforcement officers, I, Robert Rizzo, council member of District 2, do hereby declare the week of May 11th through 17th as National Police Week in the city of Kyle. During this week, we honor the men and women of Kyle, the Kyle Police Department, their families, and all who serve in law enforcement across our nation. Let us unite in expressing our gratitude, respect, and admiration for those who work tirelessly to protect us, ensuring our communities remain safe, peaceful, and just for all. Thank you for what y'all do. Thank you. Want to say anything?
Does anybody have anything they wish to add? Chief, you have anything you want to say? Councilmember Kinney, go ahead.
I just want to say that, a lot of times when these service calls come up, our officers are meeting people and arguably sometimes the worst days of their entire lives. And our guys do a phenomenal job of meeting them there in that moment and addressing the situation and taking care of them. So I appreciate the service that we get. I'm proud of our police department, and I've talked to some council members for other cities that don't have the opportunity to say that. So thank you guys for everything that you do. Appreciate it.
Hey, Chief. Yeah, I also just want to say what council members have already said, how blessed, how thankful we are to have the officers here in our community. As Mr. Rizzo said, just seeing y'all at events, seeing y'all protect our community, always doing it like with a smile and always willing to help and serve. I mean, we notice it. We can see it. You know, whenever we speak with officers or community members have discussed something and they wanted, police to come and be there. So we definitely hear it from our residents, and so we're so thankful to have the officers that we have here in Kyle PD, men and women. Thank you, Chief.
Only thing I would add, Chief, is something I've seen through the years is a lot of consistency amongst the leadership that's grown up with the department. As we've expanded and grown and added more roles, what were once your young leaders are now becoming your veteran leaders, and as a result, it's just real clear to me, at least, that you're infusing the entire department. And all of the leaders are infusing a culture of community-oriented policing and responsiveness. So just that's like the hardest thing to do. You can do something flashy for a day or a month, but to build a culture over a decade, which you've been here for more than that, is commendable. But this isn't. I mean, it's Pedro. I mean, it's all of you guys. I saw Plant back there. I'm Spencer. It's Gooding. It's Verona. It's everyone. That you've been here for a long time and you're building that culture in the right way. So I'm really proud of that. So go ahead, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Jeff Barnett, Chief of Police, for the record. So let me very thankfully and humbly say thank you very much for taking time to recognize the hard work and sacrifice and dedication of the men and women that specifically serve the city of Kyle. We are very blessed to have the men and women that work here. They are very hardworking. They are very committed to providing service and good service, great customer service, and compassion and care to the citizens of our community. And thank you for recognizing the sacrifice and dedication that officers across this nation give in support of their communities and out of love and care. And they do that with honor and pride. And we're just happy to be part of the profession. And we're very happy to work here in the city of Kyle. This is a wonderful place to work. We feel very, very supported. Mayor and Council, that's thanks to you, our city management team, city leaders. And we're very blessed to have all of that. So thank you very much for taking the time to recognize their hard work and dedication. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
All right. All right. We're going to stand for one back here. All right, let's stay back here. I think we'll see. Hang on.
Have to squeeze in again. I'm going to have you two, can you come over to this side? Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move to agenda item 8, a last proclamation recognizing Air Quality Awareness Week 2025, May 5th through 9th. Councilman Rizzo. Uh-oh. Tobias, is that the air quality down there? Nope. Nothing here. Oh, it's Bear's got it right there, probably. Uh-oh.
Is that the proclamation? Yeah. Each tray.
Nobody notices that.
All right, here we go. City of Kyle proclamation. Whereas air quality can threaten our environment, economy, and the health of our residents of the Capital Area Council of Governments, Capcog region, and children, older adults, people with lung disease, and people with heart diseases are particularly affected by poor air quality, which makes up about half of all the residents in Central Texas. And in 2024, air quality in the Austin, Round Rock, San Marcos Metropolitan Statistical Area, MSA, were more moderate or worse according to the Air Quality Index, AQI, nearly 50% of days. And in 2024, the Austin, Round Rock, San Marcos MSA exceeded the federal 8-hour ozone standards and the annual fine particulate matter standards, which increased the region's risk of being designated non-attainment, and remaining in compliance with the NAAQS is important not only for the public health, but also for the region's economy and ability to conduct transportation planning, and the goals for the 2019-2026 Austin, Round Rock, San Marcos MSA Regional Air Quality Plan is to maximize probability of compliance with the national ambient air quality standards and minimize health and environmental impacts of air pollutants. And the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has designed May 5th through the 9th, 2025 as National Quality Awareness Week. And Capital Area Council of Governments supports the effort of the Central Texas Air Coalition and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to promote air quality. Now, therefore, the Kyle City Council does hereby proclaim May 5th through the 9th, 2025 as Air Quality Awareness Week in the Kyle, Texas, and encourages residents and employees to act to be air aware and educate themselves about local air quality by visiting Capcog's Air Quality Texas website at aircentraltexas.org and by promoting air quality and air quality awareness within our community. And that's what I want to finish on right there, is the importance of what we can do as individuals to protect our air. You know, it's not just a feel-good thing. It's about a health thing, making sure that we can do our part as residents in our community to keep our ambient air at a safe level is important. So on high ozone days, mow your grass the next day, or after the sun goes down a little bit. You know, there's things we can do. There's steps that we can be doing to help alleviate some of the high ozone days. Carpool, that's important. Currently at the Capcog, we have a small plan right now to incentivize some carpooling within the school. So it's something that we're really working on. There's a pilot program going on. One of the schools in Hayes is participating. I can't say which one, but one of them is. And then we've got a couple out of the Austin area and some other areas that are participating in this program, which will help minimize some of the traffic in the areas of school zones. So not only to limit traffic there, but also the air quality. There's a lot of great things. We have a purple monitor now in Kyle, Texas, to monitor our clean air. So we've done some steps to get there, but as residents, we can do our part as well. Just no outside burning. Just do things that you could help limit the particulates that are in our air, and that's just being smart and you know, not leaving our cars idling. Don't sit in your car idling. There's other things we can do, but just want everyone to know that this is important.
All right, thank you, Councilor. Does anybody have anything they want to add? Is there anyone here you want to bring up or anything, or we're good? Okay, awesome. All right, if there are no objections, we're going to move to agenda item 29. It's to receive a report, hold discussion, provide staff feedback regarding opportunities and strategies for the City of Kyle's support of an event partnership with the Hays County Office of Emergency Management's 8th Annual Preparedness Fair on September 13th, 2025. Chief.
Mayor and Council, Jeff Barnett, Chief of Police for the record. Thank you for allowing us to bring this item forward tonight. The Emergency Preparedness Fair has been a staple in our community for a number of years. It's a great opportunity, as you heard earlier from Ms. Shield, for citizens to learn about things that can help keep them safe, them and their families safe. And we've always been a partner with that, but we've never quite done all that we can do as a city partnership. There are two folks that we rely on that have provided this to our community for many years, Mr. Mike Jones and Ms. Lori Taylor, and they have done an outstanding job. tonight before you, we're going to make a small presentation about how we can do better as a community, how we can do better as a police department and a city to join in that a little bit better and make a better opportunity for our citizens and make it a really, really fun event. So if you don't mind, I would like to call our Emergency Management Coordinator, Mr. Johnson, to come forward and walk you through a very brief presentation about how we can help grow that and make it even better for our citizens.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, Jimmy Johnson, Emergency Management Coordinator out of Kyle Police Department. We have a really great opportunity that's been brought to us as a partnership with our friends at Hays County Office of Emergency Management, to bring together a way that we can evaluate some things for the community and provide some preparedness activities in the near future. Annually, as Chief said, Hays County Office of Emergency Management hosts a preparedness fair inside the city limits of Kyle at the Hays County Independent School District's PAC. The event has been so successful in the past 7 years that they have outgrown the space. And with that, we have an opportunity here to partner with our friends out of Hays County Office of Emergency Management to really put on a premier event. As we look at some of the things that we're trying to accomplish with this, Mayor and Council, is to provide a way to educate our public in several key areas. And effectively gets our folks out engaged with things that benefit them in times of crisis. It allows us to get them enrolled in our emergency processes for communications through our warrencentraltexas.org. It really does give us a chance to enhance community and quality of life by this opportunity to connect our citizens with the resources that they need in the time of emergency. With this, we plan to program 2 city blocks in the La Verde area in the brick and mortar district to really double the space size that we have had in the past inside the confines of the Performing Arts Center and the parking lot activation, and really draw a community-oriented process to get our neighbors out engaging with each other as part of our preparedness activities. The vision that we see with this is really to create a massive community-oriented event that's not just based around preparedness, but is based around education, community, and activities. By having this expanded activation space, it allows us to premiere a space that we will use currently and in the future as that area grows to really be a community space where people get out and engage each other. As our elected officials look at this tonight and provide us some feedback on this issue, know that the city is ready to partner. Our departments in the city that are engaged currently, our Public Works, Parks and Recreation, the Police Department, and our Communications Division to enhance the process that's going to be moving forward. We see a lot of community benefits out of this. 4 are listed in the presentation. I think that as we move forward with this process, we benefit more than just doing these types of things. It really gives us a chance to showcase what the city and the county partnership can offer when we prepare our citizens for times of crisis. The area that we're speaking of will be the brick and mortar district adjacent to La Verde Park, running from the parking entrance to the PAC north and then west, engaging basically a 6-block area out there, utilizing the new build out to really bring a strong crowd into that, high visibility between the 2 major intersections there, and to really showcase the event. There are some anticipated costs that we see with this. The number now is slightly below $50,000, and that provides logistical support, the entertainment concept and our audio-visual costs, marketing, and some additional rentals in the logistic form to help put on a showcase event, much like the other events that we host here in the city for the public. Looking for y'all to provide some option back to us tonight and some feedback. Before I close, I'd like to ask Mike Jones from Hays County Office of Emergency Management to come up and add some context to the presentation. Mike?
Mayor, council members, Mike Jones, Hays County Office of Emergency Services Director. I want to thank you all first for allowing us to have this conversation right now. I also want to thank Jimmy and the staff of Kyle that have helped us put this together, what you have to take a look at. More importantly, I'd like to thank the Mayor for bringing this opportunity to light. We had a discussion a year ago about what the vision can be for this preparedness fair. at the end of the day, like Jimmy said, it's really about educating our constituents, our residents here in Hays County. Kyle makes the best sense. It's the most center city. You're fast growing. More importantly, when we first started this, Lori Taylor made the mistake of coming to my office and asking, what can I do to help? She made that comment 3 times. On the 4th time, I said, well, here's what we have going on. I want to do a preparedness fair. Ever since that day, she's regretted asking that question. So I publicly want to thank her for her sweat equity, because we started this on a shoestring, a prayer, and a lot of sweat equity. To take this to the next level, it's going to take some money. But I think we'll get a lot of benefit out of it, a lot of return on that investment too. We'll have a better prepared city, a better prepared county. More importantly, I think we're going to bleed into the other counties, and they're going to come in here too. And they're going to find out and discover that the second Saturday of each year is going to be on their calendar, and this is where they're going to come in order to get prepared and prepare their families, prepare their children. More importantly, that top dog chili cook-off, that's going to be an attraction, ladies and gentlemen. If you all remember back in the old days, we used to have Chili Olympiad down here in San Marcos. Well, we're going to move to Kyle. It's going to benefit the Hays County Fire Chiefs Association, and also we'll have the benefit for the Blanco River Regional Recovery Team, which for those of you who don't know what that is, BR3T, that's the organization that's going to help you recover in a disaster when you've lost all your belongings. So thank you all again for letting me come up here and speak.
All right. Couple thoughts on what you talked about the amenities. Do you have slides on any of the breakdown of what y'all were proposing? I think there's a band associated with this and some additional marketing and dollars.
Yes, sir.
Well.
It's broken down in the package. The staff package that receive it is not on the presentation slides.
Okay.
Just the $46,000 number is located.
Right. So, I don't think we do any major event that costs less than 6 figures. So this is, I thought, a pretty reasonable amount and it's taking something that's been growing organically, and it allows for us to pump some fuel into it. So I thought it made sense, especially because this will be right at the time that the retail roads are opened up. And so they'll be able to utilize all the walking space and stalls between Heroes Memorial Park and La Verde, that entire section. Just wanted to, I know most of y'all have probably been to the fair multiple times. It's a big event, and it's growing. This could take it to the next level. I'm just curious what y'all's thoughts were on that. Councilman Rizzo.
Yeah, I just want to say this is a great idea. I've been to the fair every year, and the amount of information that's given out there is important to every resident here in Kyle. I encourage every resident to come out to the fair. The first year that we went out there, my daughter and I think she was like 10 or 11 years old. I don't remember anymore, but she was young. I just remember that. But anyway, she went out there and learned how to do tourniquets and how to, seal up, wounds and stuff like that, which was really crucial. I still have the video of her putting the tourniquet on me. Did a really good job. So it's great. I did a great job of teaching her. But, I think about everything else information-wise that y'all have here. All the information that you give out there is very important, but this is also a responsibility for every resident in Kyle. Emergency management preparedness is not just about the professionals that come out here, the first responders. It's about us, the residents, getting prepared as well, finding out what the resources are, what they can do, putting groups together in their neighborhoods or HOAs to be able to respond to any emergency, whether it's a fire, it's a flood, and we've seen it all here in Kyle. So we definitely have a history of that where it's a pandemic. To have that resource and have everyone working together is important. So if you have an HOA, come on out. If you're the head of an HOA, come on out and let's get emergency prepared because it's important. Thank you.
Additional comments? Councilor Zuniga.
Yes, I do think it's a good investment to really put some more fire into this. I mean, I went out to the one last year, and it was a good turnout. A lot of good information, good groups that are there, good first responders. You saw almost everybody out there. Is this a one-day event that y'all are proposing? And I don't know the time of this event. What are y'all proposing and when?
Yes, sir. It is a one-day event. It occurs the second Saturday in September.
Mm-hmm.
That's the annual host date that has been going on for the past 7 years. One of the things that we talk about, the activation, the folks that have been out there and have viewed both the interior and the exterior displays, we are targeting doubling those numbers this year. And we currently have feelers out where we're confident we're going to bring out twice as many vendors and static displays, which really brings a bigger draw on that end. And with the influx of the cook-off and live entertainment, it really makes it a true community event.
Well, I'll just echo what the other council members have already said. I think this has the potential to become bigger in the city, and for HOAs and neighborhoods to go out there and learn about how to be prepared in these events. We all need to learn things like CPR. That could save a person's life. You don't ever know when somebody needs help, medical help. So I definitely would support this. Would this be a budgeted item? Or would we have to look at that, Brian? Was there money in the budget for this?
I think we do have funds that we could identify for it. Some of these are estimates of what we think the costs are going to be to you, as we've got to put together a high-level estimate of it, but we do believe we have the funds available for it in the budget.
I'd be in support of this, but depends on all council.
Councilor Tobias.
Yes, thank you. I just have some thoughts real quick. I see that, it'd be more of like a kind of a gathering and a fair. You're going to have vendors and so forth. Will you be including any kind of programming that goes along with it? Will you have some demonstrations of specific types of emergencies that could happen to where, you have families that are becoming or will be showing up and you got children and so forth? Will there be break-off sessions to where you could be able to have a session from 1 to 1:45 on first aid or active shooting or something of that nature, or how to prepare for a flood, to give the public some idea on how to do it and have maybe a Q&A at the end for residents?
Yes, Council Member. Part of it is an educational component. We are still in the early phases of looking at what we do, but things such as Take 10 CPR and those that are just-in-time trainings that we can provide and that type of atmosphere are part of the things that we target for the expansion as we move forward to doing this process in that venue. So that is part of the agenda, is an educational component.
Like prevention of grass fires and so forth on that end, do not burn trash during
Yes, sir.
and all
And
that.
Mike and staff have really brought to bear for the past 7 years. All are true community partners on the professional side of this and the volunteer side. So it really provides us an opportunity to target some specific areas. And that's one of the things that we're looking at, is creating a really cohesive theme, educational theme for this year, in a way that people can flow through this process. And each one of these things will be building blocks as part of our explanation of services during that event.
Okay. Thank you. I yield.
Any additional thoughts? The only other thing I was going to suggest potentially would be to make available some of our event resources that we have. We may already do that anyway, where like making the Parks Department available to put out barricades and various other, things that we can do to support outside of just the checks for entertainment and stuff like that. As long as council was okay with that, seeing this as becoming a marquee event that we're also vested in, so that we can provide that manpower, I think would also help them grow their scope.
Right, because this is a community event and we're probably going to get outside people. Can we get this out of the hot tax, or do we have any room there, capacity?
We'd have to look at it. I'm not sure it's a good candidate for that, because you'd have to have hotel stays that are associated with it, but we can definitely look at augmented.
This event's pretty big. We've got a lot of people coming into the area, so I'm just wondering.
We could take a look at it. I haven't considered that, but maybe for future events, we could take a look at how this one does and then see if we've got a good track record of that. But to answer your question, we can augment it with other staff, of course.
Motions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the item as written.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Rizzo, second by Councilmember McKinney, that we provide direction regarding partnership opportunities, directing staff to proceed as we have discussed. Is there any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0. All right, thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll bring something back at a later council date for final approval.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we're going to go back to agenda item 3. Consider appointment of a new city council representative to the CapCog General Assembly in place of former councilmember Daniela Parsley. Mr. Elizondo.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight we have a Capital Area Council of Governments appointment item. The CapCog, for anyone watching that doesn't know, is a regional planning organization that serves 10 counties in our region. The appointees are appointed by the governing board, so that would be you all. The city of Kyle, based on our population, last year we got an extra seat on that board, so we have 3 now. They're on that board. They meet twice a year at least, so it's usually at the beginning of the year and towards the end of the year, but if there's more business for them to take care of, they can meet more than that. They discuss and collaborate on regional issues like transportation, emergency preparedness, environmental issues, and economic development. And this item tonight, we currently serving on the board, we have our Mayor Pro Tem Bear Heiser, we have our Councilmember Robert Rizzo, and the third seat is occupied by former Councilmember Daniela Parsley. So the item for tonight is for you all to appoint a third council member in that open seat. And just as next steps, once you all make an appointment, staff will take the appropriate form, fill it out, send it to CapCog, and make sure that that person is put on the board.
Councilor Rizzo.
Just want to give a statement real quick. Just want to tell you the importance of what it is for the city to be on the CapCog Clean Air Coalition. This is a regional entity that collaborates between all the all the cities and municipalities in its general area. And it's really important to have representation on this committee. Currently, I was just voted in chair for my second term of the CapCog Clean Air Coalition. I'm really happy to serve in that capacity again. I definitely want whatever council member decides to do this to take it seriously, because it's a really important coalition that we're a part of, and we need to make sure we've got representation on there. I've got another year and a half in my term. I don't know, elections, you never know. I'd love to find someone that would want to serve, because the last time I got off the dais, we almost were kicked out of the CapCog because the council member at the time that was appointed for it didn't show up to the meetings. And that's really sad that we got to that point. But we want to make sure that we have people that are committed, that want to be a part of the Clean Air Coalition, that care about the air quality in our city, care about the people in general. Right, and so making sure that it's quarterly. It is during. It runs from 12 to 1, sometimes 1:30, depending. But just making sure you have the time to do it. And it's during the week. So I just wanted to put that out. Just knowing the commitment. Just please try to keep it. If you decide to run for this position, make sure that you have a commitment to it.
All right. Does anybody think they might have the time and/or desire to serve on the General Assembly? Councilor Harris? We have one volunteer, Councilor Harris. So you'd be able to make the meetings and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else have that desire, or are we good with Councilor Harris?
So that will be 3.
3 total, yes.
Yeah, I'm first chair, so I go to all the meetings. I'd love to have other council members there to in case I have an absence. I've never been absent from one of these meetings, but you just never know. You never know if a health reason or something. Emergencies happen all the time, so you just never know. As we're talking about preparedness week, right?
All right, motion to make Councilor Harris our appointee to the General Assembly.
Second.
All right, motion by Mayor, second by Mayor Pro Tem. Is there discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations. All right, next up is agenda item number 4, introduction of Chief Communications Officer Linda Klepper. Mr. Elizondo.
All right, I am very excited to introduce you all to our new Chief Communications Officer, Linda Klepper. Linda started last week. This is her. She's been here for 1 week and 1 day. She came to us from the city of Schertz, where she transformed their communications department into a 25-time award-winning team over more than a decade. So she has plenty of experience leading public sector communication initiatives. She's very well connected in the different professional organizations in the area, and I will introduce her, let her say hello, let you guys welcome her to the city. She will be instrumental in taking the vision of the city council and the strategic plan and all the different departments and divisions and everything, and putting them all together into one communications message through the department. So we're very excited to have her here.
you, Jesse. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you guys for the opportunity to be here and to be part of telling the City of Kyle's story. I'm really passionate about storytelling, communications in general, and it's honestly a privilege to be part of the team that gets to tell Kyle's story. And so I'm excited to be here. You have a wonderful staff. Everybody that I have encountered so far has been warm and welcoming, and they're all doing some really amazing things, and I'm excited to get started.
Does anyone have any questions for Linda?
Just want to say thank you, welcome to Team Kyle. When we started our communication department years back, it was in the goal to get information out to our residents and making sure they could see all the wonderful things Kyle's doing, what the city of Kyle is doing for its residents. So that's something that I still hope that we put an emphasis, making sure we do more to get crucial information out to our residents. And it's kind of where we started a few years ago. It was a goal of council and the city to make sure that we communicated with the residents and they got all the information they needed.
Absolutely. That's going to be a goal of ours, to make sure it's timely, proactive, that it's consistent, and that they can rely on the city to be the folks that have the information that they need and that they can come to us when they need something.
All right, anyone else?
Just welcome aboard.
Welcome
Thank you.
aboard.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
All right, next up is agenda item number 9, receive a report, hold discussion, provide staff feedback regarding construction improvements at the intersections of Roland Lane and southbound I-35. Coming back around.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Leon Barber, City Engineer. Before I get started, I wanted to introduce Adrian Garcia. He's the WGI engineer that's been working on this memo that providing all this information that I'm going to present to you tonight. Okay. It's been a while since I've been up here, guys. Okay. The background, on February 26, 25, city staff authorized WGI to prepare a technical memo to provide schematic design recommendations for deceleration and acceleration lanes along the Interstate Highway 35 southbound frontage road, which is located there at Roland Lane. Obviously, we identified several challenges and that compromise traffic safety and the vehicular flow at this intersection, and these concerns have prompted considerations for possible realignment of Roland Lane. On April 21st of this year, WGI delivered the technical memo to the city and with the recommendations that are outlined below. We actually looked at about 2 or 3 other recommendations, but we decided just to go with these two options. Option 1 is just to include the deceleration lane and use the existing footprint of Roland Lane to enhance safety and turning movements onto Roland Lane. Option 2 is going to be a little bit more difficult because it is a long-term solution. It would actually realign Roland Lane to connect to the southbound frontage road, and it collected a 90-degree angle. One of the things that we discovered when they did their studies or their traffic studies, they discovered that the acceleration lane that we were talking about did not meet guidelines. You need about 200 vehicles per hour, and I think we were at 144 and 160 vehicles per hour. So they are not recommending an acceleration lane. This is option 1. It's got the deceleration lane. We're using the existing railroad footprint. We will have a little bit wider lanes in Roland. Our estimate for the construction is about almost $500,000. Option 2, with the deceleration lane, it realigns Roland Lane. This is really how you should build an intersection at a 90-degree turn. This would allow larger vehicles to make that turn there. The cost, of course, is much more significant. You're looking at about $1.5 million on that one. We decided to put a pros and cons list together for you to look at. On the pros, on option 1, of course, it matches Roland Lane. It uses existing railroad crossing. It accommodates turning movements for vehicles up to 30 feet. If you've been through that intersection, you notice there's a lot of tire marks on those curbs that are there now. So this will improve it a little bit. The con, of course, the larger vehicles are still going to have a hard time getting through that intersection. Option 2, wider travel lanes. If we ever decide to widen Roland Lane from, say, I-35 to Old Stagecoach Road, this would already be in place. We could just continue on. Again, I'm just thinking out about possible bond elections. Roland Lane would be a very good candidate. So would Opal Lane, as a matter of fact, if we ever want to redo those roads. They are definitely good candidates for the future bond programs. Option 2 does accommodate your larger vehicles. Of course, the disadvantages are that there's a much higher cost. And probably the more significant issue with this particular, if we change that alignment, now we have to renegotiate with the Union Pacific Railroad and the Federal Railroad Administration. So that would be a very timely delay, a long delay for that to happen. I was talking to Adrian about the time frame. As far as construction on option 1, we're thinking probably a year. By the time you design, by the time you get to your permitting, by the time you bid it out and build it, you're probably looking at about a year, plus or minus. With this option 2, I would bet 2 to 3 years on that, just because of the work that we have to do with the Federal Railroad Administration and Union Pacific. Option 1, of course, is to go with the first option that we mentioned and to negotiate scope and fee with the WGI. Option 2 is to go with option 2, which is to straighten it to a 90-degree turn. And, of course, option 3 would be no action. And our recommendation, of course, is to go with option 1, which would be to keep the alignments that's there today, and understanding that we're not going to be able to get all those big trucks through there. But at least it'll be a much safer situation for that intersection.
Councilman Rizzo.
Yeah, Leon, I just want to say thank you to you and staff. When I first brought this back to council and to staff, I'd been reached out by several residents in that area concerned about, turning in. And one reason is because when you just don't turn right, you turn back. So you're turning right and back at the same time. So it's really tough. To have that deceleration there is a good plus for them, because now it allows them to come in safely instead of being rear-ended, somebody going 55, 65 miles an hour, on that fast lane. So that's really important. I still feel like the acceleration lane is still warranted, but I understand the study came back and said we couldn't do it. But I think that's why I would rather go with option 1, and the reason why is that right now at that 45-degree angle, you have a little bit more of a acceleration, route than putting that T intersection in there, because then you're turning completely right. And if you're already having issues pulling out of there right now with that 45-degree angle, then at a 90-degree angle, it's going to be a lot tougher to pull out of there with traffic coming out. So I think I would be more in support option 1 right now. Working with UP is really hard, so I'm not really looking at prolonging this. I think a quicker fix is important, and the reason why that deceleration is so important is I don't want to see somebody get rear-ended in a high-speed vehicle. So I think that would be my recommendation is to go with option 1 and try to get it moving as quickly as possible.
Additional thoughts? Councilor Zuniga.
Hey, Leon, thank you for giving us, the background of both options. I can see how option 2 takes a longer time. It is the right way to do it if you're going to bond and it aligns with that at some point in the future. But option 1, though, you're still creating a shoulder that doesn't exist right now. So that would still make it safer for vehicles slowing down that are going to go onto Roland Lane. And that would include school buses, right? So that would, yes, they might not be able to make the perfect turn, but when I look at it, it still makes it safer if school buses are going down that path now without a shoulder. So definitely, I think option 1 would be the best right now from my point of view, just because of the time it would take to work with the railroad for option 2. So.
Councilor Tobias.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Could you reiterate again why they put those barriers in the middle of Roland Lane right before you hit the railroad tracks? Because the 2 council members make a good point, because I have family that live down that road. And I remember, and there was a school bus that was coming on the service road that had to slow down, and it's such a tight turn that you've got to go around. You've got to hit it just right. The bus tilted a little bit. Of course, you can see the kids kind of love that, I guess, because that's part of their daily route. But it still, those tires do hit that curb. I'm wondering what the reasoning was for having those, and why it was not widened out a little bit more, because I think that's also a factor of when you turn in, you don't have a whole lot of space to make that right angle and also the left. But I do agree with option 2 as a future project, because you never know, there's going to be more trucks coming down that road in the future. Or other vehicles of that large magnitude. So we've got to start now planning ahead if these projects continue to go through, as far as if we have more development in that area. We need to really start considering that.
Council member, I know that Public Works and Kyle Water Utility are planning a major construction of a facility in that area between Opal and Roland, so they're going to be having a lot of large vehicles trying to get through that site. So it's imperative that we start looking at what we're going to be able to do to those roads in the future.
The quiet crossings he was asking about, why are the restrictions?
Okay, see if I can keep this brief. If you've been there and noticed that the median actually was longer than it is today, it was actually shortened because we were having such a hard time getting vehicles to make that turn there. But the Union Pacific Railroad and the Federal Railroad Administration want us to put those medians in there to keep vehicles from, because your gate goes down on one side. If you don't have that median there, that curbing there, people are going to try to go around the gate. So that's one of their safety precautions, that they want to make sure that you don't get around and try to sneak around that gate. So those are the reasons for the median curbs in those quiet zones. And we did cut it down as much as we could. We had to work with them quite a bit, but we did get reduce the length of that median that's there.
I do remember when those lights were put up. It was very tragic that day. I remember I was right out of high school. There was actually stop signs that would allow a car to stop to cross the track. And I think the county or the city at the time had taken down the signs to start that construction, and a major accident happened there. And I remember it was a family that was there, and lo and behold, about 2 weeks later, those crossing things came down. So I can imagine, I think it was at the time that nothing was there, but I can see now the reason why the Union Pacific puts those barriers, because there are people that still go through them. They're just not patient enough, and that's when tragedy happens. Well, thank you for the explanation.
Councilmember Harris.
If we go with option one, would those improvements be totally lost if in a few years we decide to upgrade that to that option two?
You might save a little bit of the deceleration lane, but yes, most of it would be gone.
And in the time it would take for us to process option two, it seems to me that we may well hit that 200 vehicles for the acceleration lane as well, because that area is growing quickly. So I'm concerned that if we go with option one, we are underbuilding and we'll have to go back and revisit this intersection in the next couple of years anyway. Would that be true?
That's true. Just to give you the numbers, the requirement is 200 vehicles per hour. In the peak, it was 129, and in the evening or afternoon, it was 144.
It's not far off.
Not far off. We still have a bunch more development going on in there, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it is possible.
You know, option two is good, but not without an acceleration lane. To not have that acceleration lane without that, on that tight 90-degree angle, that'd be really tough to get out of there. Because right now, even at that 45, they're having a hard time getting out of the road because of all the traffic coming through. So the only way I could support option two is if we had that acceleration lane on it, because it's vital for people to get out of there safely onto the frontage road. But other than that, I think this needs to be a quick fix, because right now we're having people that are coming down on the access road that want to turn right back onto Roland Lane, because you're turning back. You're not turning right. You're actually turning back, and it's getting really tough for them. So I think this needs to be a really quick fix. I'm good with going with option one and later looking at option two, because I think that's going to be coming as well. Making that acceleration lane a little longer, so that way when we do go to option two, we'll have the rest of that lane, would probably be the right thing to do.
Councilmember McKinney.
Leon, how feasible is it to do like a hybrid option two, where the existing roadway would service the traffic heading east, and then having that 90-degree curvature, almost having it split right there for a little bit for the westbound traffic?
That could be an option. I'm going to let Adrian see if he's got an answer for me on that one.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Adrian Garcia, WGI, representing the design firm. We didn't exactly look at that option as a split option with, I guess, single lanes going back to the intersection. One of the big things that we wanted to focus on was the trigger point for, the 2-year, the extended length for disturbing the quiet zone there. So that was kind of the reason, we either jumped in with both feet or we kind of stayed with the option one or the other.
I got you. I think a lot of us are thinking that long term that option 2 is the better one, and if that's what we're going to do, it's less expensive to do it the first time than option 1 then 2. We want to be as conservative with our taxpayer dollars as possible. Also want to make it as safe as possible, and it's already past a point where things need to be done. So I don't want to wait 2 or 3 years either. So I'm kind of a little conflicted on this one.
Yeah, I understand that. And that's kind of where I'm at too, because I think, doing the big improvements is important, but you're talking about dealing with Union Pacific. You're talking about going to bond for it. I mean, you're probably looking at 5 or 6 years if we go down that route, not just 3 years out, because there's a lot of key players that we're doing. So right now we actually need something there right now. And every day that we wait, we're putting somebody's life in jeopardy. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Is it needs to be a quick solution, and it's because of that back turn. That's what is getting everybody. If it was just a single right, they could probably navigate it better. But you're actually turning back onto rolling lanes. So I think it needs to be addressed a lot sooner. But I think option 2 would be the feasible way. But we just don't have that kind of time right now.
Good. So I'm really concerned that the larger vehicles just still aren't going to be able to make that turn. And option 2 is the only one that resolves that. And there are more and more larger vehicles. And to have a school bus wobbling, I think I would not like to see that. I think that option 2 is our better option. And that's not requiring a bond. That just sets up that intersection. So if we go to bond later, that intersection is already manufactured. The only hold up on that really would be the Union Pacific authorizations.
In order to keep it a quiet zone, we'd have to go through their process all over again if we make those improvements. That's what the delay is.
So
They're not as responsive.
Do we have to pull out that quiet zone?
Yes, we'd have to change the alignments and change the improvements that we did on the existing one. We'd have to put new medians. We'd have to make sure that it's still whatever we do has to be safe according to their guidelines. And it's not that it's a difficult thing to do. It's just that it's very time consuming with them. It's just we don't get answers right away sometimes. It took us a while Mayor, you know how long it took us to get the quiet zones done.
Yeah. Yeah, it does take, well, they can expedite some things. They can. I don't know if they will. So we're not asking them to move the tracks. We are not asking them to do anything, change the quiet zone really very much, except that we want to do some realignment on that road and need to change how it's aligned, right?
Option 1 is just to add the deceleration lane, and then option 2 would actually move the crossing.
Oh, it would move the crossing.
Yes, that would move the crossing.
Oh, I see.
That makes a good point, if you don't mind, if I just add, how many would be involved? How much of the city, Union Pacific, and also TxDOT would have to be involved in any kind of realignment in that area? Where would you think we would get the most if we were to go with option 2 and look at that as a CIP project, in a sense? How much pushback do you think or not pushback, let's just say how many people we would have to get in line? Would the county have to be involved? Would the TxDOT, Union Pacific? Just that way we already know who the major players are in this just for that intersection, so we don't run into, quote, roadblocks.
I don't believe TxDOT would be a problem for us, because if we abandon the existing one and just move it over a few hundred feet, TxDOT's not going to have an issue with that. I don't think they would.
Okay.
It would be the Union Pacific we'd have to follow the Federal Railroad Administration guidelines for implementing a quiet zone.
Okay.
And that's when it takes the longest, because you've got to do a notice of intent, That takes forever to get that through their process, and you have to do, once you complete all your improvements, they've approved all your improvements, then you have to do an NOE, notice of establishment, and that takes time just to get that done. After you've done all the work, they still have to come investigate, they have to check it, and they're going to find stuff wrong. That's just what they do. And then you're going to have to wait even 30 days after you've said it's approved. You still have to wait 30 to 60 days to actually get it done or make it happen.
Yes, sir. Okay, good question. Good answers. Thank you.
And UP would have to come in and do the new intersection as well. So trying to get them to come out and do that work would kind of be a headache as well.
I think you're right about option 2 being years out. So it makes me think of a few different times. Like, for example, when you brought up the Kyle Crossing and Kohlers intersection, we went with the cheaper option knowing that eventually we were going to have to do a long-term fix. And even the cheap option takes what seems like forever. And so how many years out are we from the next actual final improvement, and how much suffering is there along the way? So I can get behind option 1 personally, although if you felt in particular that this was important enough to be worth going through the whole process, I would support that too, but there's a trade-off either way you go. So
it's kind of like the last agenda I brought with AC and Downey.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's immediate resolution now to prevent a major accident. Pay the money now to get that, but there's talk of a future roundabout in that area versus going with this long-term of a possible CIP bond project for option 2. So we're just trying to find something to where we don't have anything major happen on that road. And I understand where Councilman Rizzo's coming in. Thank you, sir, for bringing it forward.
Yeah,
Robert.
And I think right now option 1 with a longer diesel lane, so that way if we ever do go into realignment, that diesel lane will already be there, and that'll save us some dollars in the long run. So if we could do that, I'd appreciate it. If that's what councils would be amenable to.
Okay. Motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve option 1 with a longer decel lane for future build, and that's pretty much it.
All right, motion by Councilmember Rizzo, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem, that we approve agenda item number 9, option 1. Is there discussion on that motion?
I just want to thank council for this discussion. Thank you all for caring about the intersection. It really shows that we put an emphasis on public safety, so thank you all. It was a great conversation.
Yes, sir. Any other discussion?
They're both dramatic improvements over what we've got.
Yes.
So,
I'm glad you brought it forward. It was a good one. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Page 2. All right, here we go. Agenda item number 10, receive a report, hold discussion, provide staff direction regarding the aesthetic design elements for the roundabouts within city roadways. Ms. McCollum.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Melissa McCollum, Chief Development Officer. I'm really excited to come back since February to talk more about our roundabout program. We're really going to showcase kind of our project approach for the landscaping, as well as our art kind of feedback that we got from the Arts and Cultural Board and from our Parks Board, and then really kind of want to ask you about some signage elements tonight. So I have Marissa and Ann from Coleman and Associates. I think they're both going to help us present tonight. We'll start out with Marissa.
All right, thank you all for your time tonight. I'm Marissa McKinney. I'm a landscape architect with Coleman and Associates, and we are going to talk roundabouts tonight. So on our agenda for this presentation, we're going to talk about the locations and typologies of each of the roundabouts, some of the stakeholder engagement process that we've been going through with city staff, design constraints at each of the roundabouts, and a review of each of the typologies and the feedback that we've gotten from public art. And then Anne has some very exciting signage concepts to review with y'all. We're looking tonight for feedback on the overall typologies and really any roundabout feedback you have to offer. But specifically, we're going to have some questions on the signage options that we're presenting tonight. And then finally, we've got our next steps. We're hoping to come back for the June meeting and show you guys some more finalized concepts for each of these items. So we first wanted to talk about where the roundabouts are going. We have quite a few of them listed here. Some of these that you see on the list are some beautification projects that we're also working on. So we do not have 24 roundabouts. I think there's 22 roundabouts and 2 beautification projects happening. So we've color-coded this graphic here so that the art roundabouts are shown in pink, the landscape roundabouts are shown in green, and the signage roundabouts are shown in blue. And I did not choose the location of these. Anne did not choose the location of these. We worked with a group of city staff to kind of distribute these elements throughout the city. And if y'all have feedback on that, we are more than willing to accommodate. And so in locating these throughout the city, I'm kind of dispersing each of those elements. You'll see that proportionally we have more landscape roundabouts than the other 2. That was both for budget and to kind of distribute those elements throughout the project. We presented to City Council in February, and so we've gotten some City Council feedback. We then presented to the Arts and Culture Board. From Arts and Culture, we went to the Parks and Recreation Board, and then we've been working with Engineering, Capital Improvements, Public Works, and Parks and Rec throughout the process. We actually went back to Arts and Culture a second time, and so you'll see that in our stakeholder engagement slide for the Arts and Culture Board. Design constraints. So one thing that we want to mention as part of the roundabouts that came up at a prior discussion was the site distance. So we are working with our civil engineering friends who, for each of the roundabouts, they calculate for us a site distance. So that is the distance between the edge of curb, the outer edge of curb, and that red dashed line. So in that space, which is different at each roundabout, it's calculated based on the speed of the roundabout, the size of the roundabout. There's a lot of math calculations that the civil engineer does to establish that. That is given to us, and anything within that zone has to be less than 3 feet. This is part of all the traffic engineering standards, which says that as you approach the roundabout and you are looking to your left at oncoming traffic, that zone having elements below 3 feet provides you the visibility required to see oncoming traffic, and anything within from the red zone in, we've got free reign. So that's where our art is going to be located, our landscape, and our signage components are all located within that zone where we can have things above 3 feet. Any questions on that?
That's a great explanation.
Okay. I'll make sure to tell my civil engineering friends because it took me a while to get there.
I do have a quick question.
Yes.
The 3 feet, does that give adequate sight distance for motorcycles and bicycles?
Yes.
I assumed it did, but...
Yes. That is all taken, that is part of the regulations that Civil has to work within at, I believe, a federal level for traffic standards. So we have several of these roundabout projects that are underway. We are tracking our packages with the civil engineering bond packages that are going out. And so these are at various stages of design. I think one of them has been issued for bid. We have several that are at the 90% PS&E stage, some that are at the 100% PS&E stage. And so as the civil engineering teams are bringing their packages online, anything after 60% we're picking up and tracking with them and issuing these packages. So we've got several of these that are underway. You'll see in the future parts of the presentation that some of the art and signage roundabouts, where we don't necessarily have an art piece or a signage decision, because that's what we're hoping to get from you tonight, we're putting placeholders in these plans. We've had one signage roundabout that I think was issued this week. Again, we've got a placeholder in there for review in hopes that we can get some decisions made and start to put.
What is signage roundabout? What do you mean by that? I understand landscape and art, but
it's a roundabout that has
sign?
a monument signage component. Like y'all have the monument signs out along 35 that have the Kyle logo.
Slide number 5.
Okay.
Yes, we'll get there.
Okay.
We have we have concepts to show you, but it would be
All right.
a monumental signage component. And then as far as our landscape approach, we are working with the Parks Department and with Public Works on making sure that we have no naked roundabouts. That was the instructions we were given at the first council meeting, making sure that these look good year-round, that they are maintainable, but that we're also working within the city's sort of new directive to make sure that we have native plant material. And so we are working very closely with those teams to develop a plant list and to develop several roundabout planting typologies that everyone will be happy with. So now we're moving into the landscape roundabout designs. This was a rendering that we put together to kind of illustrate what the landscape, the solely landscape roundabouts would look like. And we'll move through that. So these are the landscape only roundabout locations. And as a landscape strategy, this is one of the landscape typologies that we've put together so far. The outer rim there, the P2 call out, we've got a stamped concrete. You have that condition right now at several roundabouts. We're changing up the look and feel of that a little bit. So this one won't be the integral color red with the brick paver. We're looking for kind of a more contemporary design. And so we've got it's a stamped concrete that looks sort of like flagstone. And it's got some color component to it as well. But we feel like that was going to add like a little bit of an elevated look.
And it'll still be able to hold the truck weight for that row edge and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
We've been working with civil engineers on thickness and reinforcement, so it meets all of those requirements.
Thank you.
The one ring in from that, the G2 gravel, I think we've got a larger river gravel, so we want to make sure because these areas are taking in some water and we don't want to have any movement of any material, so you'll see sort of a larger gravel in that zone. One zone in from that, we are mixing our ground cover plantings and some succulent plantings. So the light blue area there is the fall aster. The fall aster on the left-hand side, the little blue stem on the right-hand side, and then the mix of the twist leaf yucca in some gravel areas, as well as the Zexmania ground cover. So all kind of color-coded in that outer ring. And those are our low ground covers because those are within our 3-foot maximum zone. So we have to choose plants that are not going to exceed that 3-foot height requirement at their maximum growth. This one incorporates some of the signage components that we're looking at, or some low walls that give some height to the roundabout. Because as you can see on the interior of the roundabout, we've got some large shade trees. This one features some cedar elm trees, some ornamental Texas buckeye, Anacacho orchid, and Texas mountain laurels throughout the roundabout. Provide you a nice pop of color and great food for our flora and fauna. And we've got that accented on the very far interior of the roundabout with some beautyberry, which is going to enjoy a little bit of shade that those cedar elms provide in the future. So we've got the roundabout also kind of mounded up in the center to make sure that we're providing adequate soil root zone for the trees and some visual interest that happens within the roundabout.
And the smaller plants, are those plants that are going to come back every year or stay there, or is it something we're going to have to replant every year?
The goal is that you would not have to replant anything every year.
Good.
That would be an annual, and we aren't planning for any annuals.
That's the only question. I know that can be real expensive, so
Yes.
if we have something that's going to be there long sustaining, that's great.
Yes, that's the goal.
Have y'all given consideration to the straight through sight line? Like, for example, are these the cedar elms, the design, they'll grow up together to provide sort of a block so that you're not seeing the oncoming traffic? Is
That would really be the goal of the mountain laurel, the Anacacho orchid, and the buckeye. Those are sort of your low growing ornamental trees. The cedar elms are going to trunk up. They're a shade tree, so you are going to have some clear trunk in there. But it's really the Texas mountain laurel, the beautyberry are also going to get quite large. They do go dormant in the wintertime, but the layering of that is what we found to be important. And then the mounding, I think we have a 3-foot mounding that happens, so those are kind of set up.
And the trees that we're planting their roots go down, not out, right? So that way we don't take up the work we've done.
Yes.
Just making sure the root system's going down.
These are very far away from any hardscape. So the sizes that we show these trees are what we estimate their mature size to be within our lifetime.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Any other landscape-related questions? Or material questions in general? All right, so we're going to move on to our Arts and Culture Board feedback. So we met with the Arts and Culture Board in February to introduce the concept of the roundabouts and incorporating art into the roundabouts. And then we met with them and kind of introduced the idea that there may want to be themes as we look at programming the artwork in the roundabouts. And so we came back to them on March 19th, and there was a lot of discussion about various themes. And these were the 3 that were agreed upon by the board. So celebrating local flora and fauna, featuring native plants, animals, and natural elements that represent the area's ecosystem, honoring local history, so references to the area's past, such as settlers, landmarks, cultural milestones, or those tied to nearby intersections or subdivisions that may be nearby, and then embracing community growth.
The vertical train is an interesting one.
Yes. Finding images for this
Think
PowerPoint.
of Back to the Future, like it's about to, just to go through time
art.
and space.
Finding art images that we could all agree on as a group has been a fun project, fun part of the project. But, highlighting Kyle as a railroad town is something that you guys obviously have as one of your centerpieces. These images here are not in any, these were, just to represent sort of the themes that we are going with. So obviously important to the Arts and Culture Board was using materials that withstand the outdoor conditions and making sure that these are maintenance friendly and sustainable. I think we've learned some lessons from other art pieces in town, and so we want to carry those forward and make sure that we're providing responsible public art. So we are working with staff to work on the RFP process to put these out for art. And we've got the art locations shown here. And then because this is the Windy Hill roundabout, this has been put out for bid, and we do not have an art piece. And so we are making sure that these are prepped and ready to receive art when a piece is selected. So we've got a large space in the center of the roundabout that you see here that is dedicated to art. We are working with the engineering teams to put together a concrete pad that can receive the art. We've done some research and some estimates on weight to make sure that we can accommodate that, and that information would all be part of the RFP process as well. Any questions on art or the themes?
Yeah, I like the, talking about the Windy Hill, it's going to be more of a farming area, so seeing more of an aspect there for farming, some kind of equipment there. That was always a big farming community. So I'd love to see something that really focuses on the history there so it's not forgotten on the farming history.
So noted. Thank you for the feedback. All right, well, I'm going to pass it off to Ann Coleman, who's going to talk about signage.
Good evening. We have 4 locations for signage, as Marissa pointed out, and we're going to show you 4 different concepts. We worked hard to capture a little bit of what you already have with some new evolution of ideas. So these are obviously not the concepts, but this was kind of a launching spot for the inspiration you're about to see. Marissa pointed out where the art and landscape ones are. This is where the signage ones are located in 4 locations. The first one is very similar to the one that moves around right now, that turns. So
In
we
theory.
use the
Theoretically.
Yes, and theoretically.
We did
So
once.
we use those letters. They're block-style letters on a simple base, and they are internally lit. So it's a very straightforward sign. It works well with the surrounding landscape. It works with it. It's not dominant. And the lighting, of course, could be very effective at night. And in each of these concepts, I forgot to mention, we're showing 2 locations front and back or side to side, whichever are the dominant. And of course, everyone's moving around these, so everybody's going to experience it differently. But we didn't see the necessity to have 4, but the idea of having 2 as anchor points in a circle seemed to make sense. 1 would also work if there's a dominant location, but 2 kind of says go around and see it twice.
You're saying Kyle on one side and then Kyle
on the other. And each of these concepts, they would be identical signs, but they would just be in 2 locations as you move around. So that's the first one, and you see up at the right-hand side how it works with the landscape. We can go over these again. We can go back and forth. This is obviously going to look very familiar to you. So we took the existing Kyle sign that we have now and put it on a background of a Corten steel, some sort of brown neutral, again, that works with the landscape. And you can see in the middle lower how it would look lit up at night with just the outline showing and not the backdrop. So it focuses obviously on the Texas, style logo here. And again, it would be on both sides, opposite sides. The next 2 are very different from what you've seen so far. So this one is rather patriotic, and it is launched from the water tower, the red, white, and blue. And it can be changed up a little bit. It can be a little less, a little more, but spots of color in this we thought was kind of interesting. The red would just be on the side. It says City of going up and down, as you can see, and the Kyle spread out, similarly as the previous 2 concepts. But you can see here how that pop of color stands out a little bit more in the landscape. It's definitely noticeable. And we also show that they could have some, in the other 2 locations, so if the front and back of the roundabout are the signage, the 2 other sides could have that middle lower area, a place for seasonal display. So you could put flags in it for Memorial Day, 4th of July, or special occasions. They would not be there full time. It could also be a place to hang and put seasonal lighting in. So it has like a companion wall in the 2 other locations. The last one, we have a video to show you. And I'm going to say something that's really going to date me on this one. Did anybody do paper dolls when they were growing up? When you punched the doll out of a... I'm sorry, Marissa. But I don't know why that is. I know. I want your brow to furrow, like, where in the world is she going? But there's something very rewarding about punching that doll out and kind of seeing it as an angle, because the sign that was supposed to turn around and around gives you some movement. So it struck me when studying these that you really never see these signs head on. You do as you're approaching, but you immediately turn into the roundabout. So I thought, let's show some movement. So look in the upper right-hand corner. We're punching the white letters out of the backdrop on a slight angle. It's not 90 degrees. So as you're moving, you're seeing it unfold. You do see the whole thing. You will be able to read Kyle the whole time, but it's also moving as you go around the roundabout. Sounds crazy, but we're going to show you a video that it fully illustrates it. What do I do next? Okay, you see how it's kind of punched out as an angle? So as I go around, I see the punch out in the background. It's very subtle, but the letters seem like I'm moving through them. So it's movement without the sign moving at all. And this also has a companion area where you can put seasonal graphic if you want to. But you can kind of see here, as I'm going around, it spells out K-Y-L-E, and it's facing me as I move through the roundabout. Don't quite know how to read your expressions. Now, it's all attached. I mean, it's all one sign. These are just literally pulled forward. The void is also interesting because you see the green behind it, and they're lit at night. So you're just going to see the letters mostly at night as the dominant. I really like this. It's kind of a little bit crazy, but I think it captures the spirit of moving through a roundabout in an interesting way. And it's kind of artsy a bit. Marissa will take your questions.
Just so you're
Mayor Pro Tem.
just so you're not alone, I think it's pretty cool. My concern is that some folks already struggle to drive through roundabouts and providing additional distractions. Probably, or not probably, maybe isn't something we should do, but that's just my
In
take.
defense, they don't move.
Well, I think that's the real trippy part of it all is and provides an additional distraction. But I like it. It's cool. It's really unique and we have a
Councilman
unique
Rizzo.
town.
Cool. So what I like is concept 2, as you're coming towards Kyle, it would be the roadway coming into Kyle, and then concept 1 on the other side would be really cool. I'd love concept 4 on maybe a main piece somewhere in the city on one of the major roundabouts. Have that one there to keep it unique to one area would be really cool. I'd love to see that one there in concept 4, but I think concept 2 and 1 working together would be great because right now our gateways already have that concept 2 style, so it identifies as going towards downtown, and then to have that regular Kyle as you're leaving would be pretty cool. Just my feedback.
Additional thoughts? Are you wanting us to make a decision between these 4 concepts?
Yes, that would be the goal.
Did you talk to the arts board about
The
the 4
Arts
concepts?
and Culture Board has not seen the signage, no.
You think maybe we could have them take a look? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
It's tough,
personally.
and they're all good.
I kind of like 3 in a way. So I think it's fresh, so it shows a transition. I do love our logo, though, at the same time.
Well, one thing, as Councilmember Rizzo was just talking about, I hadn't considered having maybe some different ones of these at different points. So you could have a mixture of them around. I hadn't thought about that until he just brought that up. But
We have differing opinions even amongst ourselves. on
yeah,
that,
whether that's
so.
a good idea or not, we could certainly take it to the Arts and Culture Board, get their feedback, and give you some more time to think about it. It is a tough decision, but we can do that and then bring it back and get some feedback from you.
Melissa, what kind of timeline do you need an answer on this? I'm
think
getting the sense that maybe sooner rather than later.
it is sooner rather than later. As you know, luckily, landscape and some of these elements that are placed towards the end of construction of a project, but still at the same time, they go out with that bid package. So you can truly kind of see all the elements that are incorporated into that. So I think we're absolutely wanting to finalize some of those designs that are coming up, and then understanding that with the artwork, we're just going to make kind of the pad that can be constructed and built as part of it. Give the artists those guidelines of understanding the weight limit and everything else, and on how to attach it, and then go from there on some of that too.
Would you be amenable to a mixture of everything, the gateway inward, 2-in-1 concept, then a couple of the other roundabouts that are strategically identified to have the blue, red, white, and blue, and then the 3D type concept 4 image in them?
So there's a total of 4
Yeah.
sign roundabouts that are coming. And so we have. Is there a thought towards
I like the
consistency of branding across if everyone gets it differently?
So Ann was right. We have debates among ourselves as well. So I would say, I think they would say for your strongest element, or one of them would say, like pick one theme and kind of go with it. But I think there's, we do have kind of multiple signage themes, as you can say. I think they absolutely tried to build this off of kind of current signage that we have, kind of showcasing what we do have related to the water tower, our current logo, as well as some of the other elements that we already have within.
I would think that the Kohlers and Sanders and Kohlers and Marketplace could be themed the same because they're going to be on the same stretch. You're going to go past both of them at the same time. But then the one in Old Kyle, you know, at the Stagecoach 5-way roundabout, and then the one down Button Creek towards the school, maybe we could do those.
The two-in-one concept. The two-in-one concept for those two.
And I kind of like the idea of the red, white, and blue being on Kohler's, just to kind of tie in with Heroes Memorial Park and kind of that patriotic theme of that entire stretch.
I like that idea right there.
And then the one at Stagecoach would be which one? The one with the logo on it?
No.
Do you like the logo better or just the KYLE
logo?
I like both. I like the logo and I don't want you to see the same thing on both sides. I want you to get two different feels, because if not, you're just looking at the same sign over. You know what I mean? This way, you also identify leaving or coming into the city.
I want to just a couple of food. I'm clearly on the multiple sign team, but there's
So you
there's-
don't mind the diversity of looks?
No, I don't. But I don't. Because of this, what I'm about to say is so profound. It's if it's about placemaking, identifying where you are in the city, I think this works to help that. You know, when it orients you a little bit. That's how I would look at it. We could also, to tie them together more, choose the Texas-style logo font and replicate the font in all four signs, but use the art element differently, and that would tie them together throughout. But the placemaking element would be using them all. That's one argument. There's a very obvious, strong argument for consistency.
Yeah.
But the placemaking idea is what I wanted to to be chewed on and kind of think about it that way.
Well, we don't have to send it to the board if we wanted to say the option 3 for the 2 on Kohler's, and then option. And they're going to quit if we don't give the option 4 at least one.
I can't do that to Melissa.
You like option 4?
I love Melissa too much. I won't do that.
I don't dislike any of them.
I don't dislike any of them.
No,
either.
they're all really wonderful. I mean, when I was looking at them, I was like, man, which one do I pick? But then I started thinking about the combination. I'd love to see concept 2 and 1 together, because one tells you you're coming in, the other one tells you you're leaving. But then I'd love to identify 2 really key areas to do. And I think Mark identified one there on Kohler's, the red, white, and blue, which is great. But I also love the art piece on concept 4. I'd love to put that one somewhere in the city, but just do it one time because it's unique, right? That's a unique piece. It shouldn't be all over the
Could
city.
we replace the Burleson roundabout with this package? With concept 4?
Is there a?
I'm serious. I mean, because it doesn't work. It never did.
Is there is there any difference in cost for concept 4 versus the rest of them?
I don't think so. I think all of these are very similar in cost, just due to the nature of the construction of all. They're all sign cabinets, the interior lighting, et cetera. They're all very similar in cost.
And it's all LED, it's all changeable colors, everything.
Exactly. Yeah, we've had conversations with is that Parks that manages that?
Yeah.
That we've had conversations with them about how when we implement this, they would like to see that done so that the ease of use of that for seasonal lighting and things that y'all are really known for.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this week we're honoring Police Week. To be able to light them up blue would be great, you know, just to honor that. And whether it's Valentine's Day or whatever, I mean, let's honor everything we can with the color effect. It would be great.
And yeah, we were actually going to work with them to explore options to maybe make that a little bit more centrally controlled than them having to go around and change each of them individually. So we're going to explore that with them. I can't make any promises on that, but an option we're going to explore.
Great.
Probably an app for that, yes.
So do you need direction on only which options, or do you need placements as well?
However, the more feedback we can garner, the better. But if you say we want to use all 4 concepts and we trust y'all to figure it out, we will take that direction as well. So.
And when using all 4 concepts, I want to make sure that we're using 2 and 1 in per roundabout, right? So 2 on one side, 1 on the other, and then the next roundabout 2 and 1, and then the other 2 roundabouts, the one on Kohler's Crossing will have the red, white, and blue, and then identify the other one for the 3D effect. It's kind of what we're looking at.
I'm not sure I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
For the placemaking. I see where you're going, and I get it. I really do. But
Okay.
I think the cul-de-sac is smaller than that. You're going to kind of glimpse them as you're going around. And for where you are, I think having the same signage anchoring and then doing the next one that you like somewhere else is going to be more orienting as far as coming and going. I think it's just one place that you're going. I love the idea of doing it, but I think it might be a little confusing to
Well,
where if it's
the
place
only reason
making.
I think it's more amenable that way is that, when we're coming in, the gateway one always
Right.
symbolizes coming in.
Mhm.
And now if we're leaving the city and we have the gate one,
Right.
well, how do you symbolize coming in or leaving? And that's why I think coming into the city,
Right.
the roundabout, the road that's coming into the city should have the Texas Kyle on there.
Mhm.
And then when you're leaving, you should just have the Kyle, because you're leaving Kyle, right? And it's not
Yeah.
the gateway. You're actually.
I guess I think it
you're
was going
exiting.
around and around. I don't really think
Yeah,
of
you're
coming and
exiting.
going
I think
because you're
about
turning
the-
left, right.
I'm thinking
yeah.
about the main road coming in and the main road leaving.
Right.
And then you've got the side roads as well. But
Yeah.
that's kind of the concept I'm looking, because I've always looked at the gateway sign as the gateway coming into the city.
Mhm.
I don't want to think of it as just leaving, because you're not really looking at it when you're leaving.
Okay. I'm still
Okay.
not sure I can, but I get it. And if that's what everybody wants to do, we will definitely do it. But my comfort level isn't quite there yet.
Well,
But I respect the idea.
Thank you.
I think we should decouple these decisions for the sake of this conversation not lasting all evening and choose. I'd like to make a motion to direct staff to move forward with signage concepts 2, 3, and 4.
Second.
All right, motion by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, that we direct staff to move forward with concepts 2, 3, and 4. Is there discussion? We don't know which one's for which. Just tell them whichever.
Well, let's start here and get this done, and then we can decide if we want to engage.
Well, I was going to recommend concept 3 for roundabouts 1 and 7. And then we have 5 and 13. We could do one, I would say 13. Well, which one is going to have the most traffic? Probably 5 has the most circular traffic, which would mean that 5 would be the one with the angled lighting. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with some logic here, and then
No, I'm good
13
with that.
could
I
be
like
the
where you're going.
traditional. Plus 13, it's closest to the water tower, which is not actually water tower doesn't have the logo on it, but so I don't. My argument fell apart mid sentence there. So
I'm good with whatever council says.
It is the most proximate to one of the Kyle Gateway signs. You can, the ones that are listed up further north, the arrows indicate that those existing Kyle Gateway signs are much further north than the Gateway sign on the south is to number 13.
So you're saying you think it makes sense to have number 5 be the angled letters and number 13 be the logo?
Yeah, I do.
What do y'all think about that?
I agree. I kind of also like the idea of the artsier one being on the east side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other comments? All right, I'll motion to amend the motion, directing staff to use concept number 3 for roundabouts 1 and 7, concept number 2 for roundabout 13, and then concept number 4 for 5.
Second.
All right, motion by the mayor, second by Councilmember Harris. Is there discussion on that motion? Does that all seem clear to y'all? All right, the southeast roundabout has angled letters. The southwest roundabout has the logo, and then the 2 on Cromwell are concept 3. Yes, you just made me restate that for the fun of it, didn't you? All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion to amend carries 7-0. And now I'll call the motion on everything. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you for your
Thank y'all
patience.
very much.
Thank you. We'll be back again in
Okay.
June. So.
And I'm assuming the art pieces will go to the arts board first?
Yes,
so that we
absolutely.
can have some...
And then council will need to approve the artwork before that moves forward.
All right, next up is consent agenda, items number 11 through 25, unless I missed something off the front page. I don't think I did. I
Nope,
think we're
that's
here.
it.
All right, does anybody have any items they wish to pull off the consent?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda items 11 through 25.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Rizzo, seconded by Councilmember Harris that we approve consent agenda items 11 through 25. Is there discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0. Any first readings in there? I don't see any. Jennifer? All right, next up is agenda item 26, consider approval of award RFP 2025 DD-11 and authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute contracts for the fabrication and installation of public art projects with Jessica Bell LLC for the Sky Blooms concept for $55,500 or Dana Peroty's Heart concept for $108,500. Ms. Truelove.
Good evening, Rosie Trullo, Director of Administrative Services. For this particular item, we have a choice of selecting one or of two different art pieces or selecting none of them and giving staff direction about where we would move forward from there. We have issued a solicitation, a call for artists through an RFP process to create unique, one-of-a-kind, large-scale pieces of artwork, such as a sculpture or a monument. We asked for the style to be contemporary and visually striking, and that if moving parts were to be included, that they utilize a natural energy source such as wind or solar power. Through the RFP process, we evaluated them on their concept, price, their experience, and the completeness of their proposal. We had 5 total submissions. We took a review committee to and through the Arts Board, and we with membership of Rose Burke, Annabelle Gomez, and Melissa Spence. And the task force recommended the top 2 artists, which are before you today for consideration. Competitive scores and positive feedback were received for all submissions. There was high praise from the Arts and Cultural Board for the submissions and the past projects of the top 2 artists. They worked with the top 2 artists to make minor modifications to enhance the products. And on March 19th, the Arts and Cultural Board recommended approval for council consideration of the 2 projects that I will present today, with one with Jessica Bell and one with Dana Peroty. Jessica Bell's project is called Sky Blooms. The description is a vibrant series of mixed media and flowers standing between 8 and 10 feet tall, each in full joyful bloom. These whimsical sculptures cast playful patterns of light and color onto the ground below, thoughtfully spaced to enhance movement and exploration. Sky Blooms encourages interaction and wonder for visitors of all ages. Materials would include powder-coated steel, commercial acrylic, and solar lighting, and the dimensions of the project would be 8 to 10 feet tall. The proposed location is in the Steeplechase Playground, and the price would be $55,000. And you can see from this map and rendering the proposed location adjacent to the playground at Steeplechase.
It'd be right on that concrete, right in the middle of it?
It would be in that red circle, existing pavement to remain right in there.
Okay, that was my question. What's the surface going to be like? So it's going to be a concrete surface?
It's right where the fire pit is, the barbecue pit. You see the hexagon, and that's a hexagon existing pavement to remain. So it would go right on that hexagon piece.
Yeah,
in the middle.
And it would be a concrete platform that it would be sitting on.
Okay, what are we going to do with the barbecue pit and the tables? Because I don't want to lose those amenities in Steeplechase. Because I just had somebody reach out to me this week asking if we have barbecue pits and tables they could use like that.
Chris is here to answer that.
Okay, cool.
Good evening, Chris Escoto, Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation. So the idea would be to relocate those, so we're not going to lose those amenities whatsoever. They're just going to be relocated within the park space.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
Chris, will those be shaded when they're relocated?
That's the idea.
And so the second option that we have is X Heart with Dana Peroty. This is a stacked tower of playful symbols reminiscent of children's games and drawings. The joyful nature of the sculpture reflects the nearby playground and water features and the sun-filled days that families enjoy at La Verde. These light-hearted symbols transcend language, and the composition evokes feelings of amusement, kindness, and open-heartedness. Materials will be cast bronze, concrete, and glow rock, with the dimensions of approximately 7.5 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet in La Verde next to the small pavilion at a cost of $108,500. And you can see in the images how it would look at night. Dark sky compliant, but glow rock that glows. So the Arts and Cultural Commission Fund does not have enough capacity to fund both of these projects. So the options that you have before you today is to approve the Sky Blooms or approve the X Heart, or to approve one of those pieces and give us direction about potential future budgets and the second piece, or to reject all responses to this RFP and have us go back and see what we can come up with in the future. So
Art is so subjective, isn't it?
it is.
Does anybody have any thoughts or comments?
Yeah, I like both pieces. I want them both. Great.
What is the budget?
But
So I think I'd have to, let me get my laptop, because unless you have the backup, or Chris, do you have the budget for what's available in the fund?
Yeah, so currently there's a budget of $65,000 that was allocated for both of these projects.
Okay. So for me, I love the steeplechase element. I think that's going to be a great addition to that park. So that would be priority number one. The only concern I have on the second one is that we've seen some stuff, some different behavior over at La Verde Park. You know, right now we're having issues with the rocks that are being thrown into the pool. My concern with this is it looks like a climbing piece. Is this going to be safe enough for someone to climb? Because I can see people climbing that, kids climbing that already. Because I was looking at it, I was like, I'm thinking about what's going on there already. So I could see kids climbing that. Is that a piece that kids can climb and interact with or not?
So it's not intended to be climbable. That's also a reason why it's proposed to be elevated. So originally within the proposal, it was at grade. So we did create a 4-foot base to elevate that piece to avoid that. But as you're aware, at La Verde, even with signs being posted, stuff still occurs. However, that is something that staff will be monitoring to make sure that that's avoidable.
Kind of scary that y'all already knew I was going to ask that question, didn't y'all? So just, no, I'm just great. I'm just messing with you. That's great. But no, that's the only element I was worried. But look, honestly, as we're promoting art in our city, I love to find a way to get both pieces out there. But I do want to do an emphasis on the one at Steeplechase, because I think that's a really beautiful piece. And I like them both, but that one really sticks out to me.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I don't think I can get on board with either of these pieces. And this is really hard because I don't like weighing in on something if I can't offer up a better path forward. So I'm kind of violating one of my own rules, but we're about to vote to spend money. And I feel like these missed the mark for what the spirit of the conversation was around creating art that is reflective of our city and trying to have a theme around our city. When I think of the presentation we just went through with the roundabouts and having a cohesive plan citywide, and this to me just kind of feels really random. I mean, it's not that the art isn't nice to look at. I just don't know that it's nice to look at for $164,000.
I think that's why I like the piece going over at Steeplechase, is because that's always been fields, a lot of flowers, so that really defines that area right there as a very flowerful field. I think that's kind of what I was looking at. The other one, I'm kind of torn because I feel like kids are going to climb it, but it is a nice piece. And Bear might be correct with that one might not fit the standards, what we're looking for as a city to identify the areas. But I do like the flower one.
We did have an item on the agenda today to move forward with an arts master plan so that we would be able to have the benefit of that work concluding to be able to guide future selection processes.
So how would everybody feel if we waited until that art master plan is completed before we make any big purchases on art?
I have no problem with that. I'm still kind of not sold on those two items. Not saying that they're bad, just wasn't feeling it.
These were recommendations by the Arts Board, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Keep that in mind.
I really, I do like the piece for Steeplechase. I can visualize the reflection of the flowers on the concrete. I can visualize kids enjoying that space. I think it does reflect the nature of Steeplechase Park, and Steeplechase definitely needs something cheerful, colorful, artistic. There is nothing like that in the steeplechase area. I'm not crazy about the one that is proposed for La Verde. I think La Verde already is kind of artistic all by itself. We've got the bobcat there and the hammocks and a lot of things that add to the ambiance at that park. I would feel good about going with the one for steeplechase.
I think that's probably where I would have been at too. So, I like the idea of adding the art at La Verde, but I didn't feel like that X Heart really captured any of the spirit of Kyle. And again, I hope whoever's watching, if that it's not intended, like you say, it's very subjective. But at the same time, also, we put a budget in, and the steeplechase item fits the budget, and then we could go to the master plan. But one thing I do want to say is, I think we should make a discipline of investing in art on an annual basis so that there's new art coming in. In all my years, I don't know that I've ever voted on any art piece that actually costs money to be installed. I mean, y'all correct me if there is anything. So all of this that we've been pushing on is designed to get to this moment where we're making investments in art. But we can do the one at Steeplechase, make the budget, go through the arts master plan, and then maybe even increase it slightly so that we can be looking at two pieces next year. And then, but then also the arts master plan really needs to call out what is the spirit of the art we're trying to create, so that there's at least some kind of guiding principle for the designer that's not just, well, what would I put there? It should be their art, their creativity channeled through our vision. And so I'm not sure that was something that the artist probably had much of an opportunity to do, just because we haven't communicated that vision through a plan. So I'm okay with what Dr. Harris said, if anyone else is.
I definitely like that piece for steeplechase.
Shall I make a motion?
Make a motion.
Go for it.
Make a motion that we purchase the Sky Blooms concept for steeplechase and pass at this point on the X's and Hearts.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Harris, seconded by Councilmember Rizzo, that we proceed with the Sky Blooms, but wait on the X Heart. Is there discussion on that motion? Councilmember Tobias.
It's within the budget. Kind of was looking at it a little bit different, but if it's within the budget and we're going to look at the master plan, I'll support it in that sense.
Were there any other submittals? These were the only two?
Those were the two that the Arts Commission recommended be considered by council. The other two, there were, I believe we had 5 submissions total,
Okay.
but they did not think that they were worth bringing or were
There's
ready.
a recommendation, okay.
Yeah, their recommendation were these two as the finalists.
All right, any further discussion?
Yeah, just thank them for their work and for going through this process.
And more to come, so I'm glad to see them functioning. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
All right, motion carries 6-1. All right, next up is agenda item number 27. Consider approval of a resolution authorizing a 3-year contract with Swinnerton Builders for demolition services for a total contract amount of $300,000 plus 20% contingency for a total not to exceed $360,000 through the interlocal purchasing system TIPS cooperative purchasing program, and authorizing task order 1 for demolition of various city-owned properties in the amount of $167,070. Ms. Truelove.
So as a result of the 2022 road bond project and the extension of South Goforth Road and the ongoing redevelopment of downtown Kyle, we have several properties that the city has acquired that now require attention. These properties must be cleared and existing structures must be demolished in order to protect public health, safety, and welfare. The scope of this project includes asbestos testing only. So if asbestos is found, then we will use the contingency that's referenced in the contract to process a change order to cover the cost of removal. The base agreement will be valued at $300,000 with authorization of up to 20% contract contingency. The initial phase 1, task order 1, will cover demolition of various city-owned properties in the amount of $164,000. Those properties include the downtown building at 201 West Lockhart, the property at 103 Veterans Drive, the property at 301 North Stagecoach Road, the Quail Ridge properties, 100 Quail Ridge Drive, 102, 104, 200, 201, and 203 Quail Ridge Drive. So the options that you have are to approve the contract in task order 1 or to deny the contract in task order 1, and staff recommends approval.
Discussion? Councilmember Harris.
Does Swinnerton propose to recycle any percentage of the materials out of these buildings?
I'm not sure about that. I can certainly look into that and get back to you.
That I would certainly like to see that. I think
Okay.
a lot of cities, when they're going into the demolition, especially of more than one building, are looking at the recycling of the materials. I would really like for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. We'll find out and get
Yeah,
back to you.
I don't know.
I was just going to say it's really, really important. I know that TDS right now is recycling concrete, reusing it, a lot of the plastic products. So she brings up a really good point to making sure that we're using partners that really put an emphasis on recycling.
Some of these may have excellent amounts of metal to be recycled as well.
Good point.
I don't know the specifics of how much is in this particular bid, but typically these materials have value, and they're going to try to recycle them because they can sell those materials as part of the project to recycle the materials. I just don't know how much of the quantities that we think. We can certainly let the council know after we get some details on it.
I would put a priority on a company that is doing the recycling, yes. Or not on the company that is doing the recycling, but on a company that's bidding on the demolition that will be actively recycling those materials. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Do you think we could have them send a memo just outlining their plans for reuse?
We could certainly do that if you wanted to approve it and us provide that to you, or we could table it and bring it back. But I think we could certainly get a memo to you, absolutely.
Well, Swinnerton's very, very reputable, so I would assume that if anyone is going to do that, it would be them. So I would like to move forward just to get this process moving off and keep it off our agenda. But
I would approve that.
all right, motion to approve agenda item 27.
Second.
All right, motion by Mayor, seconded by Councilmember McKinney that we approve agenda item 27 with the understanding that we're going to get a memo back on recycling plans and strategies. Is there discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, motion carries 6-0.
7-0.
Oh, I didn't count him. He didn't vote.
Yeah, he said.
Did you? All right.
Yep.
Motion carries 7-0. I didn't hear it. All right. Last item, agenda item 28, consider approval of a resolution appointing Christina Demers to serve as the city's ethics compliance officer and Sarah Kerr to serve as the backup ethics compliance officer based on the recommendation of the city attorney and contract amendment with Messer Fort PLLC to increase an annual maximum compensation by $10,000 for a total annual not to exceed amount of $60,000. Ms. Alcorn, read.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Amy Alcorn, City Attorney for the record. This item is to discuss the city's ethics compliance officer. We've recently been informed that Sarah Kerr, the current ethics compliance officer, is unable to continue serving as our primary ethics compliance officer due to other constraints on her time. I've discussed this with Ms. Kerr and her managing partner. I've also met with Christina Demers, who's the current backup ethics compliance officer. And our recommendation is basically to switch them, appoint Christina Demers as the primary and Sarah Kerr as the backup. The law firm has also informed the city that they believe will go over the $50,000 annual limit this year, and so they've requested an additional $10,000. On December 3rd, City Council appointed Sarah Kerr. Sarah Kerr was appointed based on a request for proposals that was issued by the city. The only respondent to that RFP was Messer Fort. Messer Fort has been providing us services for a number of years. Now, like I said, we're staying with the same firm. We're just reversing who's the primary and who's the backup. Christina Demers is a senior attorney at Messer Fort. She's been licensed for quite a while, since 2007. She spent 8 years working for the city of Temple in-house, so she has significant municipal experience, which I think is important for this position. She also has experience in family law and general civil practice. And then, like I mentioned, the contract amendment is to add $10,000 to the annual amount due to the potential of going over $50,000 this year. The options are to approve the resolution, to make amendments, or deny the resolution. I recommend approving the resolution. Any questions?
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Alcorn Reed? Do you know how much the hearing costs, roughly?
Last I heard, somewhere between $20,000 and $25,000.
Okay. So it's possible that 10 won't be enough.
It is possible we'd have to come back depending on if there are more hearings and how long they take.
All right, any discussion? Motion to approve?
I do have some questions. I just want to make sure that we're getting the same quality that we had with our attorneys. How do you feel, Amy, as an attorney? Do you think that the quality of the representation is going to drop off, or do you feel like we're moving forward with someone that's just as reputable as the attorney that was handling everything?
I feel like Christina Demers, and not to say anything bad about Ms. Kerber, Christina Demers is arguably more qualified. She's a higher ranked attorney in the firm. She's been licensed for more time, and she has more direct municipal experience.
Okay, that's definitely what I need to know. We know the city's getting a quality attorney, someone that knows the compliance, and will do a great job for the taxpayers, right? That's important, so just making sure. I guess I tend to agree with the mayor. Is $10,000 going to be enough increase? I mean, I don't want to have to do this every 2 months, another $10,000 increase because we've exceeded that limit, right?
Yeah,
well, not us, I mean, because we're not doing this. It's, you know what I mean?
They've currently requested $10,000, and I can handle $10,000 in my budget. If I'm going to have to come back, it would be for a budget amendment to increase my budget to cover this cost. And so if that happens, I will bring an item back in the future.
Councilmember Tobias.
Yes. If she gets approved, what other kind of services will she provide for the city besides the ethics compliance?
Under the charter and the code, she is only allowed to serve as the ethics compliance officer. She cannot provide any services to the city beyond ethics
Okay,
compliance.
so if there's any kind of ethics hearings, complaints, things like that, she would just be handling those, period.
She's the primary attorney for ethics complaints, any ethics issues, so she would make recommendations for changes to the code. We would take that to the commission and to the council, but she is not permitted to represent us in any other.
Okay. Would she be able to work with the Charter Commission on reviewing some of the ethics verbiage that's going on right now?
I think if they had questions about the ethics provisions of the charter and they wanted us to bring in the ethics compliance officer, we could do that.
She would be the one that they'd be able to ask,
Right.
the commission themselves.
Right.
Quick question. Amy, we have to have an ethics compliance officer by law.
It's under our city charter and the code of ordinances, both required.
But there's been times, I guess, where we lapse. We don't have an ethics compliance officer, right? When we
Right.
can't find one.
I try to bring one as fast as possible if that happens, but yes, that's
Right.
happened a couple times.
So I guess the accumulated cost of the hearing was because it took 3 hearings to meet with the commission? Is that?
The number of hours spent both reviewing the complaint and the responses and all the responsive documents, providing the investigation, and then attending all of the meetings and receiving questions from both the complainant and respondent and the commissioners.
Sure. So, I mean, that's a cost that most cities will have to incur anytime there's a non-frivolous complaint filed.
A lot of cities don't have a separate ethics compliance officer. In a lot of cities, it goes through the city attorney. I personally like having a separate ethics compliance officer because it avoids the argument that I'm conflicted because I work with you guys on a daily basis. But it is a cost that we incur because we choose to have an independent attorney for that purpose.
Oh, I see. So we don't have to have one if you're the
It's
attorney.
only required because the charter requires it.
Okay.
Buda doesn't even have an ethics commission.
That's also required by charter.
It's also required by charter. All right, motion to approve. Motion by the mayor, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem to approve agenda item 28. Is there discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0. I think that's it. Brian, did we need to go back? All right, motion to adjourn. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.